Okay. Basically, I did that all because this one didn't look exactly like that. I'm going to put this one in the study because in the study, that one is the same style as this. And that's what I'm going to do next. And I think I might even continue that on the same video. See, that's going to go. I'm going to take this regular light switch off. Here's the dimmer switch that goes in this room up above the fireplace right there. I've got these other two lights, this one and that one down there, that's connected to this switch here, okay? And Momi wanted a dimmer on that, so I'm going to put this dimmer there. Now this dimmer will match that one. That's just how I do things. Try to match up things the best I can, okay? I'm going to get set up and get ready to go. You want to keep watching this video, keep watching, and I'm going to take this cover plate off, and I'm going to have to be careful to a certain extent. I'm only going to take this one switch out, and I'm going to put the dimmer in its place. I'm going to take that off here in a second, but I needed to make sure I had enough light in here because these lights are actually turned off with the breaker, and this one for the main door was not. And I even got my construction light out. I'm going to start using this. I just got it out for the first time. It's a brand new one, and this is the type that it looks like. This was a 500 watt halogen. They get them, you can get them 250 watt or 300 watt at the hardware store. It just depends which one you go to and so forth. And I'm going to use that every once in a while whenever I need light. So I'm throwing extra light in here, so I got enough light over here so I can comfortably work on this and you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. You should know the drill by now. Just double check this. I checked it before and everything's okay. You don't have to be an electrician. You got any little bit of sense. All I'm using is my standard screwdriver, and I'll probably use a Phillips screwdriver, and that's probably it for this project. Gently pull that off. If your wall has been painted a long time ago, and if they didn't take the cover plates off and they painted around it, you may have to slightly score it to get it off. Last thing you want to do is jerk it off and rip the paint off, okay? That's the worst thing you could do. Now I'm just going to take these screws out, and they use sheetrock screws for that one anyways. Lots of times I've seen that. See, up here was just the regular standard screw that comes with the light switch. Now see, I shouldn't have to move anything here because I've got my wires right here. Okay. And then I'm gonna have to finagle the wire nuts back in there further because the dimmer switch, you see how thick that is? Look, it's not as thick as a regular light switch. So I've got to have plenty of room in there. And this box is pretty well packed. I'm gonna have to hold my mouth just right on this one. Okay, so I could just cut these wires off with my wire cutters if I wanted to. Snip, snip, snip. But I'm gonna go ahead and undo it I can undo it later or do it now. So I'm just showing you. See, this one they have it wrapped around the screw, so I've got to just kind of get it opened for it to come off. And that was just a small little standard screwdriver. This one, it's just to make the loop bigger, so I can then just pull it off. See how it's got that loop on there? I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. You know, this one here, just get that ground wire out of the way for now. Just take this and twist it up. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, twist it that way. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. This time they have them looped around the screws. Remember on another light switch that I took out, there were holes in the back, and this one in fact has holes in the back, and they chose not to use those. Different electricians like to do it different ways. I used to always use the back holes, but lately I've used these screws on the side just because it keeps them on there a lot better, because these can get loose or they can pull out. Once they get loose, you got the light switch on, you could cause it to short back and forth a little bit, and eventually it might stop working. Eventually it could throw a spark in there, cause a fire. Okay, so at that point I can't just get it off that way. I have to turn this sideways. I can bend that up to kind of let it get off of there. Let's see if I can get it. Might have to work on this a little bit here. I could undo this screw all the way, or just bend that a little bit more, like that. Okay. And now I can save this. This is a perfectly good switch. I've got the screws there. There's the two holes in the back that I was telling you about. Okay, back there, that you can put the wires in. And if the wires were in there, you see there's a little slot right there. You would take a small little screwdriver like that, push it in there. There's a spring in there, or not a, you know, there's a wire piece in there that you push on, and it releases the pressure off of the wire if the wires were in these holes. If you didn't want to cut them off, you could cut them off and then take a pair of pliers and then pull on it and pull them out. That you can do that too. But if you don't want to do that, you just push on that and then pull the wire out at the same time. I've showed you on other videos. It works pretty good. Now, if I don't have any strippers, I could just take this wire with my pliers and just fold it out and get it straight. Okay, and then I can use that, and I can do that. The copper, as long as you don't bend, you can bend the copper back and forth a little bit without breaking. But if I took this here and bent back and forth maybe 8 or 9 times, I could snap that off. Okay. And if you didn't want to do it that way, you could take a pair of electrical cutters like this, and you can cut that off, you know, and then you could re-strip it with some wire strippers. I carry this stuff in my nail bag. I don't use it only for electrical, see? use something like that, and then I could strip the wire. I don't need to use those this time. You remember on the last one, I made this about a 1/2 inch or so, or just a little bit shorter than this. They made these a little bit longer because once you put the loop on it and put it on the side screw, you have to strip these that much further if you want to use the side screws. If you just want to use the back screws, you don't have to strip it as far, but you have to strip it enough to get it pushed in there, but you don't want it stripped way back. Okay, this would be about the right length if I were to have used those back screws, back holes, a different time. Okay, so here's my ground. Here's my ground wire. Let's just cut this one off this time, okay? I'm just going to cut it off about the same length as everything else this time, because when I reattach this, I've got 3 wire nuts, so this ground doesn't need to be any longer than these black ones. Okay, and you want them, they're stuck out about 5 inches or so, 5 or 6 inches. They tell you to do it 6 inches. These are 5. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at this to give myself a slight little game plan. Got these, just kind of pulling, making these wires straight a little bit. That's all. This was